So this comment in response to a video I made in support of the domestic abuse charity Refuge in light of the findings that 75 women were murdered by men in their homes last year. Do I want to give too much airtime to a nameless loser on the internet? No. Am I going to borrow you for a minute whilst we talk about his attitude? Yes, because this man has not had an original thought here. In fact, to accuse a woman who voices a legitimate concern of moaning, of having a sad life, well, that's straight out of the patriarchal playbook. That's something you've done before. You tried it with the suffragettes, didn't work then, ain't working now. That said, by definition, a moan is a low, prolonged, inarticulate sound expressing physical or mental pain, pleasure, or unhappiness. If I have been inarticulate in my communication up until this point, for the avoidance of doubt, let me clear it up now. I am very passionate about highlighting the effects of the patriarchy on men. And look, I'm not uninterested in its effects on women, but to my mind, those effects, while sad and toxic, aren't nearly as violent, threatening, or frankly dangerous. Hence, the very justified and perhaps disproportionate amount of time I spend moaning about the former. But let's not get this twisted. I'm not kicking off because you didn't do the washing up, because you were late home from work. You are framing it like I am nagging you. Ugh, would you stop killing us? How many times do I have to ask you, stop sexually assaulting women? The fact that this is how you have interpreted my words, the fact that this is your reaction to them, that says a lot more about how you see the world than about how I do. Step back and remove your feelings from this. Recognize your trigger, your insecurity, and the fact that for whatever reason, my words feel like an attack to you, and you'll hear the facts here, not the feelings. On account of the fact I don't want to generalize by gender because it is not aligned with the feminism, the equality that I advocate for, I wouldn't moan about men in the general sense. I don't hate them. That is something leveled at feminists a lot, and it's a very interesting interpretation of the movement. It's indicative of a lot of fragility, dare I say, sensitivity. Most of the men I know, most of the men who watch these videos aren't defensive when I advocate for the safety and equality of women because they have nothing to be defensive about. They don't try and undermine it because why on earth would they? I don't think they think it's moaning, and if they do, well, I think anyone without a very sinister ulterior motive might conclude that the advocacy for the government funding to help victims of domestic abuse flee the attackers, killing one of them every 3 days in the UK, to be actually just quite justified.